So let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered if a business decision made, halfway across the world could actually affect your job or your wallet or even your whole future? Well, in our hyper-connected world, the answer is absolutely. Let's get into how.
Today, we're unpacking the massive force of globalization. And look, it's a story with two very different sides. On one hand, you've got incredible opportunity and wealth creation. But on the other, there's some pretty profound disruption and challenge. It's a story of winners and, well, a story of losers.
All right, here's the plan. First, we'll look at what's really powering this whole global network. Then, we'll dive into the high-stakes gamble nations have to take. After that, we get personal. We'll see the human impact through a tale of two workers. From there, we'll explore how governments can build a safety net, and finally, wrap it all up with how to master the trade-offs of this brave new world.
So what's actually driving all this change? I mean, how did our world get so small, so tightly woven together?
It really boils down to three huge forces. First up, breakthroughs in transportation. It's just faster and cheaper than ever to move stuff and people around. Second, digital technology. This allows for instant communication and money to flow seamlessly across the globe in the blink of an eye. And third, you've got the explosive growth of massive multinational corporations, which are constantly scouring the planet for the most efficient places to do business. Put them all together, and these three engines are literally shrinking the world.
And that's the big picture effect, right? All these connections, physical, digital, financial, they bind national economies into one single gigantic web. Now, this can create these amazing engines for shared prosperity, but it also wires everyone together for shared risk. And that tension right there, that's what we're digging into today.
And that shared risk brings us to this high-stakes game every single country has to play now. How do you balance these incredible opportunities against potentially catastrophic disasters?
So let's start with the amazing upside. When a country opens its doors, it can attract something called foreign direct investment, or FDI. The best way to think about it is like a flywheel for economic growth. A foreign company, say Google, comes in and builds an $850 million data center in Singapore. Boom. That creates high-tech jobs, it boosts tax revenue, and that money can then get reinvested into better schools and roads, which, you guessed it, attracts even more investment. It's this incredible, self-perpetuating cycle of prosperity.
But, and this is a big but, every connection comes with a price tag. Interdependence. See, when economies are separate, a problem over here stays over here. But once they're all linked up by trade and money, a crisis in one single market can send an instant shockwave through the entire network. Confidence drops in one place, and suddenly economic activity everywhere slows to a crawl.
And if you want the ultimate proof of this risk, look no further than the 2008 global financial crisis. It started out as a pretty localized problem in the U.S. housing market. But because the U.S. economy is so central to everything, that crisis was transmitted worldwide, like a virus. Demand for goods just tanked, investments dried up, and international banks started to fail. A local problem triggered a devastating global recession. That is the domino effect in brutal, real-world action. Okay, so we've seen the view from 30,000 feet. What happens to entire countries? But what does all of this really mean for individuals? For people on the ground, just trying to make a living? Well, the exact same forces that shift billions of dollars around the planet also completely rewrite the rules of daily life for individual workers. For some people, it's like all the borders have been erased, creating opportunities they never could have dreamed of. For others, it means facing ruthless, global competition. So let's make this real. Let's tell a tale of two workers. First, let's meet our winner. She's a super skilled engineering graduate from Singapore. Thanks to modern planes and instant communication, she can showcase her talents to the entire world. She gets headhunted for this amazing job in Dubai, and suddenly she's earning 3 times her old salary, all while enjoying a bit of a better lifestyle. For her, globalization is the ultimate career ladder.
But now, let's meet our second worker. He's been a loyal employee at a craft factory in England for years. He's done everything right. But one day, the company announces it's moving the entire operation to Poland, simply because labor costs are cheaper there. Just like that, his factory closes, his job is gone, and his entire livelihood is completely devastated. For him, globalization means his job has been outsourced and his standard of living has just plummeted.
These two stories, side by side, they show the stark human reality of it all. So, given these incredibly powerful opposing forces, what on earth can governments actually do to manage the fallout?
You know, this matrix does a fantastic job of pulling everything together. At the big picture country level, you have the positive of economic growth. Think of that Google investment versus the negative of economic vulnerability, like the 2008 crisis. Then you zoom into the individual level. You've got the amazing employment opportunities for our engineer in Dubai set against the devastating employment challenges faced by our factory worker in England. It's all right there, the whole two-sided coin.
So what's the solution? A government can't just unplug from the global economy. That would cripple it. Instead, the real strategy has to be building a strong state safety net. The goal is to deliberately capture all that macroeconomic growth while at the same time explicitly shielding individuals from the microeconomic pain.
So one powerful tool in that safety net is a policy like workfare. This is designed as a direct response to help people just like that displaced craft worker. It can supplement the wages of lower-income workers to protect them from that downward pressure from cheaper international labor. And it provides allowances for training so they can get new skills and stay competitive.
And on the other side of the coin, you have an essential tool like Skills Future. This is all about creating more winners. The goal here is to empower the whole workforce with easy-to-access, subsidized training so they can constantly upgrade their skills. This makes sure workers can transition into those new, high-tech jobs, the ones created by those data centers. As older industries inevitably move overseas, it's all about building a future-proof workforce.
So we've seen the incredible opportunities, the very real risks, and the safety nets designed to catch people. But how do we actually master these trade-offs? What are the fundamental rules of this new game?
Ultimately, it all comes down to a constant balancing act. On one side of the scale, you've got that immense opportunity for growth, those shiny new data centers. And on the other side, you have systemic risk, those falling dominoes. Learning to master this trade-off, that's everything.
This really leaves us with 4 fundamental realities we have to accept. First, globalization isn't just good or bad, it's a system of profound trade-offs. Second, for countries, success requires this constant dance between cooperation and competition. Third, for companies, survival demands relentless innovation and adaptation. And finally, for you and me, for individuals, prosperity depends on the relentless pursuit of new knowledge and new skills.
And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. In a world that is defined by constant change and interconnection, the real question isn't whether we should participate in this global economy. The question is, how are you equipping yourself to not just survive its challenges, but to master them?